Yeah.
Hey, John.
Probably seen you. What is your group?
Huntington Area Development Council.
No.
We're in the same building as Jim's Steak and Spaghetti.
Oh, okay, yes.
Iconic diner.
Yes, I was there last week, and
Is it the Kennedy booth?
I don't know that I did. They tried to send me by the door.
That's a seat of honor.
Yes,
My office is on the fourth floor.
oh,
Behind
okay.
the building.
I, work.
Place.
Oh, Margaret, I'm still doing it.
Oh.
I'm not in the same way. Margaret Mary?
We've known each other for many years. Yes, we go way back. Her office is right down the hall.
Oh, okay, well, then,
Has everybody had a chance to sign this?
At least are my coffee pot.
okay. That's what it is. 'Cause
She has free rate of our kitchen.
I used to be there fairly often, so
Is that right?
I think,
Celia, sure we met then. I've been there 7 years.
Yeah, whenever you're ready, I'm getting a head start on it. Walt's already been keeping track too.
Her office is in our suite. Moving down the hall.
Okay, I'll ask the secretary to call the roll to establish a quorum.
Okay, you gonna call it to order? Yeah, right now.
Well, I'm gonna wait until we call the roll.
Okay, that's a good idea. So, Lori Andrus, Becca Arnada, Aranda, sorry. Georgiana Atkinson. Here. Julie Blackwood.
Here.
Bonnie Brown. Sarah Krickenberger up there, right?
Yes, I'm here.
Hey, Terry Floyd, no. Nicholas Frieden. Brian's here. Elliot is here. I saw Elliot. No? Didn't see Elliot. Sally Howard.
I'm here.
Eddie Ireland.
Here.
Keith Jackson.
Here.
Eva Jones.
Here.
Mark Lewis.
Here.
David Living,
Here.
sorry. Brian Lilly.
Here.
Renee Margosi.
Here.
I'm here. Robbie Moore.
Here.
David Moran. Lane Park, no. Shauna Ferris. Rita Ray.
Here.
Karen, not here. Lori Ruberg. Lori on Teams.
Yes, she is now.
She is?
She'll be in the lobby.
Okay. Peter.
Here.
Mark Sundstrom.
Here.
Christine Villamagna.
Here.
I got one right. Walt, here. Tom Witt, not here.
Bonnie Brown is here. You see her.
Oh, Bonnie's up there now? Okay. I'll mark her here. She's up here somewhere there. Oh,
I'm here. Can you hear me?
yes, hi, Bonnie.
Hi.
Hey, did anyone else join since I started calling it?
Yes, Lori Ruberg.
Lori, you're there, okay.
Yes.
Okay. Anyone else? I think we're,
Thank you.
thank you.
Quorum being established, I'll call the meeting to order. We have a number of new members today, board members, and so I thought without further hesitation, I'll go ahead and deviate from the agenda and ask us to do introductions. So my name is Brian. Just let's make this very brief.
Name.
Yeah, name, where you represent, and what you do in your day job. I'm Brian Gallagher, chairman of the Friends Board, and I represent Huntington, and I'm a pharmacist attorney at Marshall Health. Rita.
I'm Rita Ray. I represent Charles.
Walt Warren, I represent Wheeling, and I'm a substitute teacher in Ohio County School.
I'm Cecilia Mason. I'm from Martinsburg, and I work at Shepherd University.
I'm Becca Aranda. I'm from Morgantown, and I'm a physical therapist. Hi, I'm Renee Margosi. I live here in Charleston, and I am the director of the Tamarack Foundation for the Arts.
David Living, I'm a resident of Barbersville, and I My day job is president of the Huntington Area Development Council. We're an economic organization.
I'm Brian Lilly, I represent Beckley, and I actually work in Charleston. I'm the Chief Quality Officer with Thomas and St. Francis.
I'm Keith Jackson from Morgantown. I'm an at-large member, and I'm the Dean of the College of Creative Arts at West Virginia University.
I'm Julie Blackwood. I'm an at-large member from Charleston, and I work for the Canal Charleston Health Department and Administration.
I'm Chris Villamagna. I'm from Wheeling, and I am the Assistant Director at Sands Crest Conference and Retreat Center.
Mark Sundstrom, Fayetteville, recently retired social worker.
Mark Lewis, Parkersburg. I run the Convention and Visitors Bureau in Parkersburg.
I'm Peter Staffel, board member at large, and recently retired. Got to get used to that too. College professor.
I'm Eva Jones from Cross Plains. I'm the HR director at the YWCA here in Charleston.
I'm Betty Ireland, a retired politician.
I'm Georgiana Atkinson from Parkersburg, and I am a retired teacher, but I run two businesses, Atkinson Bonding and G&I Renting. And I'm really glad to be here. I love NPR.
Folks on the phone?
All right, can you hear me?
Yes.
Bonnie Brown. I'm at large from Charleston, and as Betty Ireland so aptly put it, I'm also a retired politician. But as Martha Walker used to say, I love it. She said, I used to be somebody. But I've been on the board for many years, and I love it.
I'm Sally Howard. I'm in Mercer County. I'm a professor at Concord University.
I'm Sarah Krickenberger. I'm in Lewisburg, but I represent the Beckley area, and I work at the West Virginia School of Osteopathic Medicine.
Sounds like it might be my turn. I'm David Moran. I'm from Eglin, West Virginia.
Lori?
I'm Lori Ruberg. I'm in Wheeling, representing the Wheeling area. I'm a small business owner, Plants LLC. Very happy to be here today. Thank you.
Lori?
Yes.
We're just doing introduction.
Great, thank you. It's nice to see everybody. I'm Lori Andrus.
Lori's from Morgantown, WVU. Is anyone else on the call, on the phone that we haven't introduced? And board members? Okay, thank you very much, everyone. Welcome to all you all. We're looking forward to working with you. And
We
have one more board member. Oh.
I'm Robbie Moore. I'm from Beckley. I'm an artist and director of Beckley Arts Center.
Can we get you up to the table some way?
Yeah. We know, you can scoot in here.
There you go.
Boy, it's crowded there today. Everybody's.
Full house. It's a problem to have with a lot of people. Well, we're looking forward to utilizing your talents and the diversity of experience that you brought us. Thank you for submitting your bios. Now we got to get a place for Elliot.
No, Elliot.
No, that's the way to make an entrance. Then they'll ask you, what did you say?
Bring a chair up to the table.
Oh, okay.
Scoot around. We can scoot around a little.
And Elliot, we just did introductions. If you'll just introduce yourself.
Oh, okay. My name's Elliot Hicks. I'm a lawyer and some other things here in Charleston. And,
Now I can put him back on.
Thank you all. So next item on the agenda is approval of the minutes. They were pre-distributed. Everybody got them. Are there amendments or corrections? If not, can I get a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved.
Eddie moves. Second. Moved and seconded.
Seconded.
Mr. Lilly. Mr. Lilly. Is there discussion? not, the question before the board is the motion by Betty to approve the minutes. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Minutes are approved. Peter, you're up, treasurer's report.
Okay, well, you've got those several pages of treasurer's report. The first page is always particularly a nice one these days. If you notice that we are up again, 22, up by 9% of the preceding year, and we've been up 10% over 5 years ago, which is an excellent sort of situation to be in. On the second page, you'll notice our checking account, and then our cash discretionary fund. That is of the 10% fund, we have almost $400,000 there, which all of this is money that is at our disposal to use in, let's call them creative ways that come to us or that we find to make what we do a better place, West Virginia a better place, and us being the chief spokesman for it. Let's see, if you look at the next line down, the 10,700, you'll see a little footnote below that this is the travel expense. This was something we talked about last time.
Peter, can I interrupt you?
Oh, yeah, sure.
Folks on the phone, please mute yourself if you're not speaking. Thank you.
Oh, that's right. Oh, that's all right. And we are shifting to a P-card travel format. Oh, no, away from that to a debit card, excuse me, that's the new thing. So this is probably the last kind of entry like that we'll have, all right? Our liabilities are listed there. These are kind of standard things for us. Let's see, turn to the next page. Again, you see the membership that has gone up that we've already talked about. Our expenses there on the left column, that we have the two that are far and away the largest. The first one is primarily made up of direct mail house expenses, and then the premiums and promotional, because this year we've instituted, we're going out in the state a lot more to various events. There were, you know, we attended one in Wheeling at the Italian Fest. There's ones around the state, and we put together packages of equipment and bling to hand out to people, swag, as a way to sort of be able to talk to people in various areas and get their ideas and input on us. And we'll be probably asking all of you to participate when it comes near you. So be aware of that. Otherwise, financially, we're in very good shape. I don't know if there's anything else. If you look on the page 4, the funds encumbered, 400,071. These are ones that we are going to be using that are already spoken for. Okay, that's a fairly large number, and part of it came out of COVID funds because we wanted to protect ourselves during COVID, and that gives us now sort of some cash that we can use in as I mentioned earlier, in what we think are really potentially very useful ways for us and for the state. And that will be, well, all that will come through us. Okay, you'll be notified. Any questions? And by the way, just so you know, any serious questions always go to the back. Okay.
Pete, I would like to know, maybe Marilyn, just what % of the membership is now sustaining when you punch the button?
I believe it's 51%.
It's going up again.
Very good.
Yeah. This is really good news. How long ago did we start sustaining? Do you know?
Probably about 4 years. It's
Yeah.
been in the recent past.
Yeah, and it's at the time I think you had said the national average was around 40%. That's what we were shooting for. And boy, you know,
But before
great.
we all get carried away, California,
yeah.
I will tell you that some radio-only licensees have as high as 70%.
Yeah.
Sustainers. So that's pretty high. Television licensees have the lowest amount of sustainers. I don't know what the number is, but since we're a mixed dual licensee, we're somewhere in the middle, and I think 51% is good, but we're striving to hit that 70% mark, period.
And when you talk to people, encourage that if they are not a sustainer but already give, try to convince them that it's a lot simpler, and especially for us too. And I suppose all of you know what sustaining membership is. That means it comes out monthly, which makes planning a lot easier for us instead of waiting, hoping what we're going to get in the next fund drive. So please, if it comes up in conversation, be an advocate of that to convince people. Any other questions?
Any other questions for Peter? If not, do we have enough motion to accept the treasurer's report?
So moved.
Is there a second? Moved and seconded.
Sorry.
Their discussion. Not the question before the board is the motion to approve the treasurer's report. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Treasurer's report is adopted. Next item on the agenda is the chairperson. And the first thing I will say is, I'll take a minute to do my best to explain the 10% because it's a confusing thing. There'll be a lot of discussion about that. The meeting goes on. So when we get donations, it's divided into two parts. 90% of the money goes to the Educational Broadcasting Authority, which is the statewide entity established by the legislature to oversee public broadcasting. So we are our bylaws, we support them. They actually make the managerial decisions, hiring and firing decisions, that type of thing. So 90% of the money goes to them. 10% we reserve for ourselves to be able to make decisions and allocations that we, as we see fit to do certain things to support the mission of public broadcasting. So typically those requests are generated either by the Finance Committee or approved by the Finance Committee or the Executive Committee, and then they go to the full board. So you'll hear about these 10% requests to approve. So we had to do a lot of this during COVID for things like providing money to keep the Mountain Stage Band together and things that, that you can't fix if you blow it up. So some things we didn't want to have to do, but we are in a very favorable position in that we have a good bit of money in this 10% account, and we encumbered a lot of it for COVID. What was going to happen with regard to COVID? And so we are looking at ways that we can spend this money in a way that's appropriate for the organization. Now, the last piece I'll say about the 10% request is if we don't spend it by the end of the fiscal year, it gets swept to the general revenue. And so the EBA or others can do what they want with it. And so we're trying to do our best to be good stewards of the money and spend it on public broadcasting matters rather than it be swept. That's what we find is a good bit of money. Are there questions about how the 10% works, or Marilyn, Tammy, did I leave anything out?
There is a certain amount of money that the executive committee can approve. Is that up to $5,000?
Well, the executive committee on its own can approve a certain amount.
Right.
And it cannot exceed, I think it's like 10% of the last 10%. It's in the bylaws.
Okay.
But typically, I mean, that's just on an emergency basis, really. I mean, typically all 10% requests come to this board.
Okay.
But they come via the executive committee.
Rita?
And if I might add too, for purposes of the new directors, that these requests come through the executive director and working with senior staff so that we support what they establish as the priorities and the needs of the service.
Yeah, that's a very good point. Rita's a former executive director of West Virginia Public Broadcasting, so she stays close to me, keep me in line, and I want to drive the car into the ditch. Other questions about the 10%? Okay.
Brian, could I go ahead and say something?
Absolutely.
I'd like to welcome everybody here today. I guess we're going to have to go to the Civic Center for our next board meeting. We don't have enough room, and that's good. It's good to see a packed room and to have so many people on a Teams call. I'm Butch Angelini, and I'm the executive director. I've been here just about a year now. The one thing I would like to tell you about the 10% request and what we've focused on since I've been here, is to use that for training, certification, attendance to events. I know that one of the things that Brian, I probably, it was my first day in the door last year, when we talked about is making sure when our employees are honored. We've had national award winners, we've had regional award winners. I wanted to make sure they got to go out and accept those awards. And it's important. And I would tell you, this is really my first exposure professionally, and I'm 61. I've been doing things a long time where I've been associated with an organization that has the ability and has made this possible. Every single employee in this room that you see has benefited from this already, plus many others that are in the building. So I want to let you know that I think it's an incredible benefit for the opportunity. Not only are people getting training and certification and being brought up to speed, you'd be surprised what it does for morale. So I did want to let you all know that, and I've said it at the EBA meetings. I can't tell you enough about how much we appreciate the ability to be able to do this. And I will go back and echo what was just said. If you don't spend this money, it gets swept at the end of the fiscal year, and then it becomes, I may be able to make a recommendation after that point, but that doesn't mean that's the way that money is going to be able to be spent. So know that as you look at it, yes, there is a lot of money in that 10% fund, but again, I would tell you it's an invaluable asset to us here at West Virginia Public Broadcasting.
Thank you, Butch. I will say, I think I speak for the executive committee and the finance committee, that we are of the mind that, and I hope everyone agrees with this, that when people give money to public broadcasting, they expect it to be used in the way that we were going to spend it for public broadcasting rather than being swept into the state coffers. So we're trying to be mindful of that. Now, we don't want to squander money and throw money away on things that are not beneficial, and we spend a lot of time thinking about it before we bring it to you, and it's open to full debate and discussion before this group, and it's important that everybody feel comfortable with that. But one of the things, besides raising money and helping the organization run, I think we as board members have a responsibility to help friends feel comfortable that the things they're doing are going to good things. And so we need to instill confidence in them and knowing what they're doing, or what we're doing with the money that they're spending. Any other questions or comments? Okay, continuing with the report, we've just concluded our elections, and you all are here and having one-year elections, so that's terrific. We're going to have new member orientation for you all whenever we can get through this pledge drive, right, Marilyn? Range of time, we won't drag you all the way back down here. You'll be able to participate via Zoom or something like that. New member orientation where you can ask a lot of questions. The next thing, Angela's not here, so I sent it to the wrong place, but this is the board committee matrix. So we have a number of committees. We've established 3 new committees. And so what we want to do with these, everyone has been assigned to at least 2 committees. And some more, some are also officers, because what we found in the past is that people they'd be on the board and didn't really know how the organization operated or what different things that we did. And so this will help us be better ambassadors for public broadcasting, to talk to people in our communities, to help get people to join friends, to be advocates for us in the legislature. There's been a lot in the past, there's been a lot of misunderstanding about what this group actually does, who runs it. And, we're just regular people like everybody else, and it's not some evil entity that's trying to, do bad things in the world. So unlike what, thought has been. The other thing we want to do with this is we want to make sure that we build bandwidth. so people weren't prepared to assume leadership roles in the organization because they didn't know what how the group really worked, and they weren't comfortable doing that. So that's the third reason that we want to do this. But I sent this to Angela, so I'll try to get copies made before the end of the meeting, and everybody can see.
We'll do that when you're finished.
Okay. So in keeping with trying to help build morale in the organization, the organization's been through some tumultuous times recently. We the friends collectively gave money for a picnic. They had a successful picnic. I was able to be in attendance for part of the time there. Staff was very appreciative of us having a picnic for them out of coonskin, and we're going to buy fleeces for everybody who's in attendance. So if you all want a fleece, we can order a fleece for you all too. We're going to pay for ourselves. Staff's getting theirs on their own, obviously. So we had a number of 10% requests over the past since we last met. So a lot of it has gone to training. We've adopted the philosophy that it's really unfair to employees to put them in a position to not have the tools to be able to do the job they need to do. So everybody that's been hired, a lot of new hires around the room that you'll see, just came on board recently. And so they were hired because they have the skill sets to be here, but they don't know necessarily how everything in public broadcasting works. And so we wanted to make sure that they got up to speed on this, and a lot of the staff has been able to attend these trainings thanks to the largesse of the Friends. As Butch said, we have staff that in the past and up until today are doing wonderful things on the shoestring and not very much of a budget. Peter's the former executive director. Cecilia was one of those staff members, Shepherd now. They can tell you that these folks work really hard, they don't make much money, and they do great work. And so then they win a national award. So this is like West Virginia winning the national championship. You know, West Virginia, with a team composed only from people from West Virginia, winning a national championship over California and Texas and New York.
Surely you're not talking about the football team.
Not the football team. But
Shepherd might win.
Yeah,
we've been able to do that. And the most unkind cut of all occurs. We tell the staff member that we don't have, that West Virginia Public Broadcasting doesn't have the funds to allow them to go collect that award. That's just wrong. And so we're trying to fix that too. As Peter alluded to, we've put a lot of money into fairs and festivals around the state with sponsorships. So a lot of people have been to these things. We set up a table. We've got giveaways so people can come up and talk to us to get people to understand what our organization's about, hopefully to join up there on the spot and to get the word out there, to get good feelings about the organization. And I'm sure we'll hear more about that from some people that have been out doing that. We also bought some emergency equipment from Mountain Stage. Adam Harris, who you'll hear from later, will tell you that there was smoke coming out from behind one of the consoles published at Mountain Stage. Those are words that don't even belong in the same sentence together, let alone in the same physical space. So we were able to take some corrective actions with regard to that. Hopefully we don't have to do that anymore. We'd like to be in a position where the state and regular allocations from the state are taking care of things like that so that we can do more creative things with the money that comes to the Friends. We've also discussed in the past about making sure that there's a regular schedule for replacement of equipment. So we have a depreciation schedule, an amortization schedule, so that this equipment gets replaced on a regular basis, because we got to a place where this was pretty much crisis management with, vacuum tube type technology because of funding in the past. And with that, I'll stop and I'll take questions if anybody has any. There'll be much more elaboration about this when we hear from the executive director's report. I will say about these committees, the new assignments, when I reassign people to this, you new folks on here, I've tried to fill the spots that were vacated by. So everybody else's assignments should be the same, except that Katie Red is no longer on the board, and Sarah Krickenberger has agreed to be the chair of the Education Advisory Committee, so she has taken that. So thank you, Sarah. Other questions? Yeah, the next item on the agenda is the committee reorganization of committees. So 3 new committees that were added, and I apologize to everybody who's been on the board. I've heard me say this before. 3 new committees are educational advisory, program advisory, and marketing advisory. So these committees are not to instruct staff how to do things. They're to provide ideas, to help them with support and things that they might need. So I'm going to ask all the committee chairs to have meetings prior to the next meeting, an organizational meeting, so we can come back and talk to them. So we are a resource, and we've got a lot of smart people around this table, and we're a resource that's been underutilized. We can do a lot better, I think, to help staff and extend their reach. So things like Peter was saying, attending affairs and festivals will be probably in the purview of the marketing committee. We can draw people over the table. I just heard after the EVA meeting, people were telling me that Walt and Peter had a contest to see who could get the most people to come over and talk to them at the table.
He won. Okay.
You get too many people, we spend a lot of time talking to ourselves. We don't spend enough time talking to people who you need to get to join the organization and know more about it. 10% requests. Marilyn or Butch?
Okay. This time, we had some challenges because we had people who were out of the office or unavailable, and then this all kind of came together at the last couple days. And that's why you haven't received information to go over. But I've asked everyone who is making a request to be in the room to answer any questions that you may have. And Butch has looked at all of them, and he has approved them. So these are done with his blessing.
Does everybody have a copy?
Yeah.
If you can take a look. Do you have questions about any of these things specifically? I'm glad to answer them for you, if you do.
Thank you. You're welcome. Do we need to know anything?
Good.
Anybody else?
Thank you. This will help with the minutes.
So why don't you go ahead?
Well, I just wondered, while we're looking at this for everybody's benefit, if you could just quickly point out what the initials stand for.
Okay. Not a problem.
I would also suggest you give just a thumbnail sketch of each one of these things, and then we can vote or amend on as each section is done.
Okay. First of all, on the development, communications, and marketing, the Greater Public New Corporate Support Virtual Training, that's something for Annie, who has not been here. I think you had to be here longer than 18 months, and she hasn't. And it's something that happens on her computer. So it'll be over a space of time. You can see from the 27th of September till November the 15th. And interestingly, what they're focusing on is digital sales, because that's, people are moving from broadcast to digital, and then you've got the reps who don't know really how to sell it and package it. So that's why this training will be, I think, a very worthwhile investment for her. CFRE testing fees and materials. I have I'm the only CFRE on staff.
What's that name?
I know, Certified Fundraising Executive. It's a national test. It isn't easy, but, and I was sweating real bullets when during COVID, I thought I was going to have to take it again, but I got them to have Butch certified that I was going to these virtual things. I've asked Kathleen Brady, our membership manager, to attain this designation. And she has, you all underwritten her getting her certification from the Indiana School of Philanthropy Fundraising, which is the Mecca, and she's been doing that, and it will culminate in her getting her CFRE testing. So it's an $800 and nearly a $900 fee just to take the test. And then there's some sample tests, and I told her I wouldn't let her fly, without having access to a sample test, because I'll tell you, it is not an easy test to take, at least for me. The next thing we have are the PRSA annual dues, and that's the Public Relations Society of America. I've asked Christy Morey to join it and interact with other PR folks around the state. It's just a good place to make network. Leadership Kanawha Valley, that's the manager of underwriting, Todd Freimauer. I've asked him to do that. It takes place here in the Kanawha Valley. I told him an aspirational thing for him is to take Leadership West Virginia. But we'll take a step before we take a big leap. And again, that's from October to May. So I'm sure in your communities, you have things like that as well. The next three things are from your initiative to get out and meet people and spread the good word. And I will tell you all, after the meeting's over, I've got the keys to the kingdom back here at the end of the hall, and I'll be glad to show you all the merchandise that we have available for you, because we worked several of the events just to see what was missing. And of course, Maggie is very into having events. For the rest of us, not so much. It's been a few years, but after Eddie and I and others went down to work the event at the regatta, we invested in wagons because we knew we had to have those. And we've made some other investments in tents and things of that sort, because we want to have it be a pleasurable experience for people, and I will say between our age group, but that's where we're leaving it. So shelter, tablecloth, and banner, that's $1,631, and these are event registration fees through April of 23, and Christy's got that list, and she can tell any of you what that, if you'd like to touch base with her, what it is, and we have these dissected. And the swag restock, that's $11,259. Swag ain't cheap, as they say, but we're sharing it with the education department, and it's really strengthened all of our event attendance and getting the things in people's hands, I'll say. That's something that was cut out. So that's what we have. And for development, communications, and marketing, that's a sum total of $21,665.
Are there questions for Marilyn about the development, communications, and marketing 10% requests?
Now, and again, stop in after the meeting. You'll be impressed. Okay, the next one
Well,
is. Sorry.
So this is just as of now. I mean, you conceptually could come back to us in a month or so and say, you know what, we need more swag, or I need something else in this category.
I've asked Christy, who's much more on top of things than probably I am of this nature, to estimate what she might need.
For the year?
No, through the next quarter. In our dreams, Betty.
Okay.
But if we don't use it, we won't ask for more.
I got it.
But we have, and we've been in good weather, probably over the winter, unless we're doing things inside, it might be different. But we've had a run on, I saw more of those. We have fans that have public broadcasting on them. And when it's hot and they're taking the water and everything else, I mean, it's.
So this is essentially a quarterly request for development, communication, and marketing.
For the 11, the 5, and the 16. Leadership is a one-time thing. It lasts till May 4th. The CFRE testing materials, that's going to be a one-time thing. That marketing, but I can tell you the next time we may have
something else.
Yes, I mean, and if you don't mind me saying this here, we had come out of COVID. People hadn't gone anywhere for 2 years or more, and we'd had these virtual conferences, which are better than nothing, but not the same as being there, as you all know. So then we came out really roaring for people to get out, be amongst people, and attend these things. And we had a lot of new staff too. So it has been a blessing to be able to have people identify things for them. And Butch can talk to that.
I think what I'd like to do is, I know my report's coming up, and I'm going to ask the various department heads to give you a brief review. But right now, what I want to do is just go ahead and have Christy Morey, who is our new marketing director. She joined us in the early or the late spring, and she spent all of her time traversing the state since that time, because one of the things that I truly believe in is that we do a very poor job at public broadcasting of telling our story. Yeah, we may tell West Virginia's story, but we don't tell public broadcasting story very well. So I know it's the first thing that I talked to Christy about when she came on board, and she spent the time doing that. So let's have her go ahead and give you an idea of what's been taking place. When we talk about swag, I don't like that word. I think it leaves a lot of connotations, but we use swag. I would like for her to tell you exactly what we've got out there, and you can view some of that again at the end of the meeting. But Christy, why don't you go ahead and bring them up to speed?
Thank you, Butch. If you all want to take one, pass them around. So I'll just start by reviewing some of the things we've been doing. So you had already made a 10% request for a marketing kit and for marketing events. And so with that, you do have on the front page, shows the events that have been completed. We've been the Vandalia Gathering. We've been at 2 Italian Heritage Festivals, 2 rival festivals, I would say. We've been at the Appalachian String Band Festival, Hot Dog Festival. You can read and you can see, and you can also see what we still have planned for the remainder of the year. We have 7 events still to come. October is going to be really busy for all of us. So the 10% request that we're making today will essentially help reinforce our needs here for the end of the year, but also anticipate what we've got planned for Q1 2023. I've been ordering promotional items for a long time. Sometimes today, just the state of our economy, there are delays. And so what we're planning on doing is not only ordering things that we'll be using throughout the end of the year, but also into the first quarter of next year. Next year, we're hoping to planning to attend all of our home shows. So I don't know if any of you have ever attended a home show. WSAZ has a huge one in Huntington. It was our thought that, television and radio are used primarily for a lot of us in the home. And so we should be there, just like any other provider of any service. And so I think it'll be a really great opportunity for us. If you've attended a home show, you can get thousands through the door at this home show. So again, we're just trying to be kind of preemptive and make sure we have everything on hand that we might need. Also, we learned pretty quickly that putting our tents up and down so many times really provides some wear and tear. So, one of the things, some of these things may look like it's a duplication of something we've already purchased. We're looking at a couple commercial grade tents. So these will be able to withstand all of the work we have to do. Also, I've been working with Maggie and her team who are on the road just as much as we are. And so we're working together to kind of pool our ideas of what promotional items that we can both use. So it's not we're buying education items, we're buying marketing items. We're going to use some of the same things in many cases. And so I hope that helps explain as well. Marketing events for the first quarter of next year, we have those listed on the back page. I have to, again, say a big thank you to Walt and Peter who had the privilege of spending the day. We all spent the day together, the entire day together. And so really, they set the bar very, very high for Friends members of really dedicating that time to assist us here in Wheeling. So you can take a look at the back page of events. These events are proposed. Nothing is in stone. And so if there's something you see that's in your neighborhood that we're totally missing the boat, please, you can reach out to Butch, to Marilyn, to me, anyone, and let us know. But again, if you look at this list, it really covers the gamut. I mean, we're talking music, art, and a lot of family-oriented opportunities, which will partner with the education team in many cases.
I have to say, I wasn't aware of the Bigfoot Festival.
You are now.
Yeah,
I think the big part about what she's doing and what we discuss is we want to get to as many spots in the state as we can. Another thing I heard when I walked in the door, you're too Charleston centric. Well, we need to change that mentality as well. So, we're not, in the Charleston market, there are some of the bigger events. Regatta, that's huge. Folks. There were a massive number of people at the regatta. First one I'd ever been to, but I walked around and it was mind-boggling to see the number of people there. Vandalia is huge. Those are going to be staples, but every community has that, and we're really committed to trying to get out there to as many places as we can, and we will alternate as the years go by, but it's just a real opportunity for us to get out and be seen. And I would encourage you, the informational cards that I see back here, if you go ahead and pass those out, you'd be surprised how many people, what radio station are you on, or where can I get the TV feed? Well, this is just the basic information, and we take this out, and I just think it's very, very important that, it's simple, yet it's something that they can take, and it gives everybody an idea of what's taking place.
I will say something else before I open this for questions. The multiple tents and things like that Christy mentioned, we also want to make sure that we can try to get the stuff spread out around the state, so that they don't have to make a pilgrimage to Charleston every time to get something to take back to Martinsburg and then bring it back to Charleston. Makes no sense.
I'm here driving if you want to send anything.
Are there questions for Christy?
What's the smallest size event that makes it worthwhile? Are you thinking events of 500 or up, or 1,000 and up, or what?
We've been, so you'll see many events. Those of us who are familiar with the state, I keep thinking of the Ireland, the community festival. So I don't know how many folks have been to Ireland, West Virginia.
It's your namesake.
But I think it's a wonderful example of, in Ireland, West Virginia, that is the biggest event that they hold that year, And to me, really, I I hate to say there's no event too small, but, you know, in a small community, it really means a lot. And so being able to go out and touch those, folks in more rural areas, I think is just as important as being, you know, like they said, if there's something or not. So, you know, if you feel differently, please express it, but I think that,
I just want to throw ideas if you're gonna say, yeah, it's too small, that's all.
yeah, no. It'll be a good time, so.
Other questions for Christie? If not, thank you.
No event's too small or too big. And I think we have to look at it that way. Yes, we have to look at the amount of time
You're right.
that we have invested with our employees, but we want to go wherever that might be. If it's in Ireland, if it's in Pickens, you know, I mean, it doesn't matter to me. We want to reach as many places as we possibly can, and I can't begin to tell you all enough how much I need to encourage you to get out in your communities and do this. And if you want handouts like that, you just need to let us know. Friends are paying for them. We'll print more of them. I just think it's critical that we get it out there. We can't do enough to tell our story, and we're working it. And this is just the beginning. I will tell you, you know, Christie's one of the new directors that's been hired since I've been here, and you're going to get to meet the rest of that group as we go around the room here today. But she brings an energy that energizes me and energizes the other people in this building, because there's an energy in this room, ladies and gentlemen. I will tell you that right now. And after you get to hear from the rest of them, you'll know what I'm talking about.
I have a question. What's the difference between channels 5 and 10 in the Charleston area?
5 is the West Virginia channel, and 10 is the main PBS broadcast.
The PBS, okay, because I wasn't sure that's what it,
Yeah.
thank you.
Other questions?
And aside from streaming from our phones, if that's available, is there another way to do that when we cut the cord?
Yeah, so if you download the PBS app and log in with your Passport account, there is a live stream on there.
So if I have some suggestions to you, because I'm from Parkersburg, that doesn't mean I don't know Grantsville or other places around me where that's a big deal for them. I can give those to you.
Get them to Christie, and she'll make the list.
Okay.
Thank you.
And in terms of asking for our involvement in these upcoming events, will you be reaching out to us, or should we be reaching out to you, or how does that
What
work?
we've been doing is sending out, say, a couple weeks before an event happens, just again, reminding folks of the calendar. I think we can do a better job of, once we've determined what we're attending in a quarter, going in, doing it quarterly, so you can plan ahead.
Okay.
Other questions? If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve the $21,665 development, communications, and marketing.
So moved.
Second? Moved and seconded. Are there amendments? Anybody want to take any of these out or change the numbers? If not, is there discussion? Hearing none, the question before the board is the motion to approve the 10% request for development, communications, and marketing. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Declare the motion adopted. Butcher, Marilyn, who's going to present the next section?
I am. As you can look and see, the first item that's listed there is a leadership retreat. And the people that you see around you, the staff that you see around you in the building, we will be going off-site for 2 days, actually for a day and a half in October. We're going to meet in Bridgeport. We're going to get out of town. We're going to meet in Bridgeport at noon on the first day, work into the evening, have dinner as a group, and then work into mid-afternoon the next day. Another thing I don't like is strategic planning. I've been around a lot of different professional organizations, state government, private business. And a lot of times you hear strategic planning and you see it, and you get a folder that's got that much paper in it. And that's not what we're going to be doing. We are going to be doing strategic planning, but we're going to be looking at things over the next 24 months and then out about 72 months. Things change so quickly these days because of technology. And as we get into department reports, Eddie Isom, our COO, will talk to you about the program, Public Radio Program Directors Conference that he just went to, and he heard some very similar things that I heard when I was at the PBS General Managers meeting back in May about the future of television, and how digital has now, let's just face it, folks, everything's going to become digital. Your TV, linear TV is on its way out. You know, everybody kind of picks and chooses now anyway, and it's only going to become more focused in the future. At that PBS meeting in Washington, and it was my first exposure to people that have a similar position in all the other states across the country. The first session, and it was an hour and a half, and it was riveting, and it made the whole trip worth it because PBS really got into analytics and doing studies. And look, public broadcasting in the United States gets less than 1% viewership. Now you think about that for just a minute. I sat back there in the room and I knew my jaw went when I saw that. It took a while for it to sink in on me, and I was sitting in the back of the room because I like to look at people when I'm in a big room like that. And I can tell you, there were 250 people in that room, and you could just tell. I mean, it's the wave of the future and the wave that's out there, and we need to be prepared for digital, and we're working on that, but the pressure's on. The pressure's on. We have a neighbor at Blue Ridge PBS over outside of Roanoke. They're going all digital in the spring. Everything, all digital. It was just announced earlier this week, and it's out there. So there's a lot of things that are involved in that. But anyway, the leadership retreat is just for that. We're going to get out of the building, and we're going to do some planning. So that's what that amounts for. The next two things are conferences that I'm scheduled to attend. The National Educational Telecommunications Association conference begins this weekend in Charlotte. I'll be presenting at that conference, and it's a little bit longer conference than you typically would go to. Most of them are 3, maybe 4 days. This is actually 5 days, and they've got a lot of different programs that are going to be offered there, and I'll be attending this weekend. In November, that's American Public Television, their annual conference as well. So those two conferences are for my attendance. Grant writing, Americo Valdez is our new director of grants. It's training that Americo will be receiving, and it's an annual fee for virtual training. Employee gift cards, that's being recommended that each employee get a $25 gift card to be handed out at the holiday dinner. And as you can see, the holiday dinner is the next on your list. The Society for Professional Journalists is having a Media Fest conference in Washington, D.C., and we're wanting to send our government our Chief Government Reporter, Randy Yohe. The last thing is comprehensive HR training, and that would be for our HR officer, Christina Dodd, and that's an estimated cost there. So that all totals up to $20,408. If you have any questions about any of those, please feel free to ask me.
I don't have a question related to that, but it kind of ties into it. So you were talking about, Virginia going all digital. The funding for that for here would come out of the 90%, correct? In what you would need to move forward with?
Typically.
Okay.
It would be earmarked that way, but.
The reason I'm asking is if we get down towards the end of the year and we have funding that's still allocated and there are needs related to that, could that funding be allocated?
Absolutely. Friends money can be used for programming. There's no question. And don't be surprised as, we meet again in the next quarter that there may not be specific programming items that are out there. So.
Other questions for Butch?
Yes.
When you talk about this digital TV thing, is it gonna look like my smart TV? And I'm gonna pick on the program I want?
Yeah, you're gonna be picking and choosing what you want. And that's how you'll be paying for it in the future. Cable is on its way out. Look, Dish, DirecTV, it's just the way the technology is run. Most people pick and choose what they want to watch now. If you have, YouTube TV or Hulu, whatever you might, you get a package, but seriously, you think about it, because I'm going to think about it. I know what I watch, and it's probably 10 channels. And I don't watch anything else. I watch my news, I watch my sports, and I watch my Food Network. And other than that, I don't. People, if you don't have a watching or listening pattern, I would be shocked. So, yeah, that's where we're headed. And unfortunately, Liz McCormick, who is our webmaster and our digital content coordinator, she's not here today. She's ill and she's pretty sick, but she's been working diligently. She just went to training at the public radio program directors. They had digital training. We got her there for that, and our website becomes ours in early December, and I was told the other day, possibly earlier and even into November, but we don't have control of our website. It's the first thing I said when I walked in the building on October 19th last year. Our website's terrible. Okay, it is. It's terrible. Well, one of the big reasons is we don't have control of that website right now, but come later this year, we'll be controlling our website. We control all the content, events that we're doing, no matter whether it be an event that Christy's doing or a board meeting or whatever, we're going to have a calendar on there so everybody has access to that. The calendar's on there now, you can't find it.
Well, who does control it now?
Yeah,
NPR.
It's controlled by NPR. So, and it's a particular program called Grove, and it's just, we can't even shift things to, promote well. And when you see, have any of you looked at Mountain Stage's website by any chance?
Beautiful.
Now we're going to poll you. Okay, it's the same group, Digital Relativity, and they've done a number of websites, and they've transformed a number of websites for various state agencies. And look, those people are with it and worth it and on top of it, and they're very, very good. So we're excited about that as well. But, we've got our backs against the wall on a lot of these things. Every day that goes by that we're not, involved in it becomes a day that we lose. And, we're actively pursuing these things right now.
Let me say this about the website. It fits squarely within the phrase, let's not take something good and piss people off with it. Because people get on that website and they go, I can't find anything.
Right.
Yeah. And they get frustrated, you know, I'm giving money and they can't do this. And Liz has got a lot of really good ideas to fix it. So if you find something that's problematic, I would suggest that you mention it so that she knows that we're not frustrating people by trying to do something good and then it doesn't work for them.
I'm going to add to that, Brian, I used to post to that website and I still can't find things on it.
And so who's paying for that? Is it money we've given you?
No, it's not. It's general revenue fund.
Okay. But it would be something that we would help with.
Yeah.
Okay.
Other questions for Butch?
Just for my own reasons, do you have a sense of what that website redesign will cost?
It's gonna be between $100,000 and $125,000.
Thank
you. Not sure yet. Still haven't gotten the bill, which I have to talk to Pat Strader about that, so. But they've been working on it for 6 months.
So they're gonna build it and you're gonna be able to maintain it or?
Absolutely, it's
Okay.
ours.
Okay.
Yeah, it's ours. So, then there are no excuses. So, there are none.
Old student of mine.
That's one of the things that's potentially in the charge of one of our committees too, so that people can have input. But again, you know, if we've got constraints that we can't do certain things, it's okay to bring the idea up, but we may hear we can't do that or for whatever reason.
But we don't want to hear, well, we've never done that before.
Right, exactly.
Are they building it in WordPress? No.
Yes. Yeah, I've been part of the team that's helped put this together. And just to answer Betty's kind of like question about who controls it, NPR's website is set up as a news gathering organization. And we're more than news, and that's always been the problem here. Our news is first and foremost on there, but when it comes to our education initiatives and TV programming and stuff, it's kind of hidden. And that's the reason we wanted to do the redesign. And it's looking really sleek and
Good.
really easy to navigate.
Pat Strader and Digital Relativity are very well respected in the tourism industry in West Virginia. They've done a lot of great work, so.
Very good to hear.
I'm not sure we could have found anybody better, to tell you the truth.
They have a great reputation.
Any other questions or comments? I'll entertain a motion to approve 10% request for administration, programming, engineering, and news for $20,408.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Are there amendments? Discussion? If not, the question before the board is the motion to approve 10% request for administration, programming, engineering, and news. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried, motion adopted.
The next 10% request on your list is for Mountain Stage. And for those of you who are my age or a little older, guess what? Mountain Stage is about to turn 40. And there's a lot of big plans to celebrate the 40th anniversary of Mountain Stage. We currently have a little group being headed by one of our EBA board members, Danielle Waltz, that's putting together a major fundraising event for Mountain Stage that's going to be held next September. And did we get to the date?
We have 2 dates that were,
It's the 13th and 27th.
of September.
Those are the dates a year from now. It's an event that's going to be held at it's J.Q. Dickinson, right? And that'll be a major fundraiser for Mountain Stage, and it will be a show and a celebration. That's going to start in December. The 39th anniversary hits. We've got that show that's scheduled for December 18th. Is that it, Adam?
Yep.
Okay. And then we'll be kicking off a year-long celebration of Mountain Stage. The $10,000 request is we are looking for $30,000 over the next year for marketing and promotion of the 40th anniversary of Mountain Stage. And the $10,000 request is the first of three. Adam has been working with Christy Morey. And again, I know there's a lot of new people around the table and on the call. Adam Harris is the director of Mountain Stage. And they've been working together on the marketing plan, and that's what the $10,000 request is for.
Are there questions for Butch or Adam? We're gonna hear from you later, aren't we, Adam?
Believe so.
No questions? I'll entertain a motion to approve the 10% request for Mountain Stage for $10,000.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
David seconds.
David Lyman.
Are there amendments? Discussion? If not, the question before the board is the approval of the 10% request for Mountain Stage. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? I declare the motion adopted. Next one is for education.
It is for education, and I think that one of the things that gets lost a lot of the time is it is West Virginia Public Broadcasting, but we are the West Virginia Educational Broadcasting Authority, and that word education, I think it gets missed many, many times that's out there. And, one of my priorities when I came in was making sure that we hired the right person to head up our education department. And I'm more than convinced that that's happened already, because our education department has been off and running since January. They've been all over the state of West Virginia being involved in educational programming. We are in the finalization of trying to obtain a grant for early childhood learning. That would be a pilot program in Boone County, but it would be a pilot program for the rest of the state. I had a discussion with the Greater Kanawha Valley Foundation about that this morning. So, we've got a lot of exciting things happening. If Maggie is in the office more than 2 days a week, I get worried. Or I know she's going to be out. I know when she finishes this, she's got a meeting to go to this evening. She is run. She's full of energy. But Maggie, can you just give them a quick review of the request that you have for this quarter?
Absolutely. When I got hired on, he's like, you need to get out there and let everybody know who we are and what we do. And that is exactly what I've been doing. And my calendar is completely booked up. So the conference presentations, we've been going to different conferences to get training for ourselves, and we have some of that coming up, but that is not what this request is. Now it's on the flip side. We are doing the presenting, which we love to do and we want to do, because that allows us to get out there and tell everybody what we're doing and what we offer. And so,
Maggie, could you just take a breath? Can everybody on the phone hear Maggie? Okay.
I've got that teacher voice, so I think I got it covered. So that includes conferences that we are presenting at. So in October, from October 5th through the 7th, we are presenting at the West Virginia Library Association Conference, and that is at Canaan Valley Resort. I will be traveling to speak to colleges across the state. Just between now and December, I will be at 7 different universities. And so that is a lot of travel, and some of those are very far away.
I want to say one thing about what she just said to you. We interviewed 5 candidates, Eddie and I, and Christina Dodd, who is our HR director. Most of the hiring that's been done, and that's 24 positions, by the way, folks, since October 19th of last year. We sat as a group and we interviewed 5 candidates for our education director's position. 3 of them did not know about PBS programming to assist in the classroom. I said that day, and Eddie and I had that discussion, no matter what we do, we're going to get out not only into those classrooms now, but get out into the colleges and universities across the state and inform our future teachers what we have to assist them in the classroom. And we've got 7, is that correct? 7 of those institutions have responded so far, and that's what she'll be out doing and presenting on, so you know where we are with that. But I was flabbergasted that 3 of those candidates had no clue what programs PBS had to support the teachers in the classroom. So she's got other things that she's done in the meantime with the AFT, and she's presented at that. I mean, she can give you a long list of items, trust me, but I just think it's very, very important what she's doing right now and getting out there and getting that message delivered.
And the second piece to that, so that was just the travel, the furthest university, like will be at Shepherd, October the 11th, and then we've got Reading Association, Elementary and Middle School Principals Association, so we're presenting a lot. And then the second piece of that is just items for different events. I think it says on there 5 items. So there are just 5 items that I marked down. For example, the banners, the pull-up banners that we bring to like our tables and to events that kind of let people know. We want our tables to stand out, to let people know who we are whenever we show up. And a lot of when programs change over and you have, banners that have old shows on it, I took it down to the company that we work with, and we can repurpose those old ones, and all they will do is change out the vinyl. So I'm saving some money there. We get workbooks printed, so whenever we go to events, we can hand out things for whenever they have snow days, or if their kids aren't quite in school yet, they can do those things at home. And then children's books is a big chunk of that. We love giving out books to kids, particularly with our characters in those books. And then PBS items, anything we can give out to kids, like a book that goes along with the little plush that will go with it. They can hold on to it while they're reading their book with their parents. So anything that draws people over to our table, we like to have the table that stands out the most. So that is what those 5 items are. It's those pull-up banners, the printed workbooks, the children's books, the PBS kids items, and then we have the big standees, like the cardboard standees. We want to get our popular shows, the Wildcat, Don Quixote, Pig Cat, and then, of course, a classic, Sleep with the Big Red Dog. And when we do decorated tables that have themes, we like to put those right out front. When the kids walk by, they go, and that, we put them when we do that. So, we do a lot of universities and things like that. But a lot of the stuff that we do is for the kids, and we want them to be like, oh, look at that table. And we can be like, yeah, come on over, and we'll give you a book. And so that is what my items are for.
The questions for Maggie?
And I'll pass out, just like she passed out that stuff, we give out the same, and she orders these for us because we work together. Our Above and Beyond program with the State Treasurer's Office. Everybody knows educators. We've got retired teachers in here, so you can scan this and nominate teachers. That started back up, and we'll pass these around. And we hope everybody in the room works with us for Read for the Record. We're all going to be reading the same book on the same day. If you get on here and fill out the form, we will send your book to your address, and you can go and read in a library, in a school, in a nursery. We want to get books in.
Maggie, why don't you say a little bit more about what you're asking people to do? We've got several new members that have never heard this
The
before.
Read for the Record. Read for the Record is a national event, and it's a program through Jumpstart. They choose a book every year, and basically it is to shine light on the importance of literacy, and we all read the same book on the same day. And so you just scan the little code up there. If you open your camera and hold it over that, it will bring up a form that we created, and you will just type in your name and your address, and we will send you the book that's on the bottom of there, and you can read anywhere. Maybe you have a local school or a library or a church or anywhere that there's children, you can read that book to them. And we'll send you a follow-up survey, just saying, where did you read?
Very nice.
It's just an important thing to read to kids.
We go and read to a group of children, right?
Yes.
People don't have a place to go, will you assign them a place to go?
Yeah, when we send you the details, if you don't have a place, whenever you fill out the form, it'll ask you if you already have a place, and if you say no, we can help you find a local area. We work pretty closely with the libraries.
I did this a few years ago when Shepherd still had a preschool, and it was really fun.
I did it.
And you
my-
leave the book.
Yeah.
Yeah, you get to leave the book
yeah.
with that, with those people.
I did it in my daughter's third grade classroom. That was special.
Yeah. We're hoping that we have no books left over. We want to use all 250 books and get them to all 55 counties. I think we might have 11 counties that we have not had someone volunteer in. So Autumn, my assistant upstairs, was emailing people from those counties saying that we need somebody. So I think we'll master that goal this year.
But you want to know where we're reading, so you have a listing of it?
You'll put in what county. Whenever you fill out the form, it'll ask you what county, and then there's like a drop down. It's like, it'll say, library, school, church, and then there's one that says other, and you can put in other, and then there's one that says not sure yet.
Okay, thank you.
And then I think the other one might say, I need assistance, and then we can help you find a place.
I have a question. How and why are we partnering with the state treasurer for the Above and Beyond program?
Because they have that 529 savings program.
Yeah.
Educational savings account.
Right.
And they were a partner whenever I came aboard, and they've been really great to work with.
They were here when I.
Underwriting.
Yeah, it is.
How much?
How much?
I think it's $10,000.
Yeah.
I think it's $10,000.
We should take a look at that.
Okay.
It's only $10,000?
I believe so.
Okay, and having been in state government, all I'm saying is we now are advertising a elected officials website, okay? And if it's, we don't want to make anybody mad, but if we could do this ourselves, or if the Friends could do something like that, it's only $10,000. I would like for us to talk to you about that.
Sure thing. Be glad to have the discussion.
We can even take 15.
Yeah.
I don't think that was part of the discussion.
I think that's.
We haven't started it yet, have we?
Writer was, what is the name of the group down here on the edge of the corner, but in the Bear Building? The consultant company?
In Frank Bear's building?
Yes.
Yes.
They were the original underwriters. These are the second underwriters.
Yeah. And all I'm saying is, we got elections coming up, and we now have something, we're affiliating with an elected public official, and although his name, ethics rules don't let him put his name on there, but we are driving people to his website. And I just don't think we ought to be doing that. My 2 cents for the day.
Glad to have the chat.
Yeah.
Other questions or comments for Maggie? If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve the education 10% request for $12,500.
So moved.
Moved and seconded. Are there amendments? Discussion.
Chris?
Chris. If not, the question before the board is the 10% request for education. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? I declare the motion adopted. TV production and IT.
This is the last section of the request, but I would, also like to note to you that there's one thing that was not put on here that needs to be put on, and if you'd like to write it at the bottom, or wherever you want to, that space in there, our engineers and IT department will be having, on-site training, and we had initially, intended to move that, to the next quarter, because of a lot of different things that we've got going on, but we're not going to be able to do that now. And the amount of that request is $10,000, for that engineering and IT training. And the big reason we can't move it to the next quarter is we're going to be really busy, folks, because the legislature today comes back 5 days a week this year. For those of you who were at my first meeting in December of last year, I said that we would be back to 5 days a week, and we are. Now, there's some people in the room that are sweating a little bit, but we're getting there, and we will be back to 5 days a week. You know, COVID kind of took that away from us, and then last year, we just, with the staffing issues that we had, we could not get that pulled off, but we will be broadcasting live. One of the other things that's taken place since our last meeting is we will be having use of facilities in the Culture Center now that were part of the library network. That is in the process. The library network is in the process of being absorbed by West Virginia Public Broadcasting. It's not all been worked out yet, but we will have use of those facilities and studios over there. And the largest, I think I'm right about this, the largest green room, green screen in the state was built in the basement of the Culture Center a few years back. And we'll have complete access to that. So the technology that's over there is good and is going to become better. So
What's that amount there that you want added there, Butch?
it's $10,000.
Okay.
And my chief engineer is right here to my left, and he's going to give you a report after, you know, when we get into that. But if you take a look, this is training, and where it says Chris Barnhart training, Chris is here. He's our new director of video production. That made me whole on July 18th when Chris came in. I finally had all my department head positions filled after basically 8 months. So Chris is on board now, and this is training for our video production people. And within the last 2 months, we've had 3 video production people that have left us and moved on, and we're bringing new employees on. So that's what Chris Barnhart training is, the lodging and meals. And if you look at production clothing, one of the employees came to me and said, you know, we go out and we're shooting in the field, and people really don't know who we are. We're standing there with cameras and whatnot. And he said, what about some short sleeve and long sleeve T-shirts? And I said, that's a great idea. And it's got West Virginia Public Broadcasting on it, and we'll provide those to our production staff. And then Brian talked to you about the pullover fleece jackets that was recommended for all of the members of the staff that attended the picnic that the friends were kind enough to pick up the tab for, and that was a really good day. I was kind of sad because I got knocked out in the first round of the cornhole tournament. I'm not very good, obviously, but, and other people must practice an awful lot, that's all I can say to that. But, those are the remaining requests.
Other questions for Butch? If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve a 10% request for TV production and IT in the amount of $34,975.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Are there amendments? Act fast before Butch amends it again. Discussion.
A quick one. You said earlier that if we want to buy one, we can. How much and how do we do that?
Now could be a good time.
Yeah, like that.
Yeah,
Is there a sample?
yeah.
Come by my office. I do have some samples that you can try on. And I think we've arrived at a price. There was some upcharges for like a different style or whatever, but we've come across with a standard price, and I think it's just under $30. I believe it is, but I can.
And that's in broiler.
Yes, and it has our name.
Other questions? Can we get somebody to bring them down? Because otherwise you're gonna get a line outside your office.
You know what? Yes, America will go help me do it.
Yeah, go get them. Go ahead and go get them.
There's discussion. Not question before the board is the approval of the 10% request for TV production and IT. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Declare the motion adopted.
Almost 100,000.
Yep, $99,548. Okay, the next item on the agenda is the committee reports. Ray, the chair of the nominating committee, and she's done a great job and through all this COVID and difficult times. So Rita, your floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The nominating committee, Renee Margosi and Bonnie Brown and I met recently and agreed that the board has been in such capable hands with the current officers. And the bylaws allow for a second term for officers to be reelected. So we are nominating the slate of Brian Gallagher as chairman, Walt Warren as vice chairman, Cecilia Mason as secretary, and Peter Staffel as treasurer. And I don't know if Renee or Bonnie have anything to add, but there was strong consensus that that should be the slate.
I move we accept the nominating committee's recommendation for the slate of officers.
Somebody's afraid to get nominated.
Who said second?
What's it, Dean Jackson?
I said second, that's all.
He volunteered for a position, I think, treasurer.
Any discussion?
As long as we have an account.
Not the question before the board is the slate of nominees. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Declare the motion adopted. Are there other committee reports?
Oh, one other thing, for those of you who already know it, the Metropolitan Opera, for the last, over 10 years now, has been giving about 10 broadcasts a year live streamed. We have 3 different locations in West Virginia where we broadcast them. We try to have a rep at each place, Charleston, Huntington, and Morgantown. Morgantown and Charleston is covered, but Huntington is available. So if you know somebody in the area or several people, they'll get a free ticket, and all they have to do is, we will have a broadcast brochure they can hand out to people and chat it up. And also, we get 6 free tickets for each one of the performances, and they're always going begging. We're trying to figure out how we can maybe put them into fundraising or advertise them so first calling gets to, that sort of thing. But if you're interested, and Betty's the only person I think on the board who's ever asked me for one, and she's already reserved for this year too. But please, email me. I have, I'm in the directory. Right. Peter Staffel.
And I'll tell you, if you have never seen one of these things in real life, it is better than being
They're fantastic.
in New York itself. And
I love them.
people behind the scenes and, I mean, it's right there. It's just wonderful. So
Yeah.
it's Charleston, Morgantown, and
Huntington.
Lewisburg. Oh, no, Huntington. Take advantage of this,
Yeah.
if you can make yourself available.
And if you are in any way involved, an educator, and want to take some students along, that's fine too. Like I said, I can come up with 6 freebie tickets for you.
Dates on that? Are the dates set yet?
Yeah, they go, if you go to the
Okay.
metopera.org, and then they just published them in the last couple of weeks.
Met Online, is it Met Online or what is it?
Metopera.org. Well, that's, if you want to go directly to that, if you just go to the website, you can link in from there.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a really good, really interesting.
Wonderful.
Are there other committee reports, comments about the committees?
One question I did have, I was just looking at the matrix and I got that I've been assigned to, but there's only one that's checked. So I just wanted to make sure I don't miss a committee that I'm supposed to be in.
I will take a look at that again.
One on the phone.
Yes.
Yeah. Hi, this is Lori Ruberg. I just wanted to report that the Audit Committee reviewed the financial statement from the auditor, and there was one edit that was made, that will be made to the report, but otherwise, we're recommending that their report be approved.
Thank you, Lori. Do you need a report for that, or would that be coming to us at a later date?
The auditor asked that this be approved today, Richmond and Company. However, the due date is not till the 31st of October, but we don't meet again until December. So.
I had it. But this is a copy of the draft.
The board hasn't seen it.
I don't know that we can approve that. We'll have to have another meeting without having seen it.
Right, and it's probably something that can go by from the audit committee. When we get the final version, we can submit it to the executive committee.
Can the executive committee approve it without the full board?
We probably can, but I'd feel better if we had the whole board approve it.
Agree.
We may have to call a special meeting by phone or something and distribute it.
Yeah.
But we want to be as transparent as we can be and have everybody feel comfortable about things, so we'd rather get it out to you if we can.
Especially regarding an audit.
Yeah.
Okay. Staff report. Butch?
Oh, thank you all again for being here. One of the first thing I want to do when I'm get ready, you've met some of the department directors and some people have chimed in, but Tammy, Eddie, Adam, and Marilyn, stand up. These 4 people were in the building when I arrived.
They're still standing.
Yeah, they're still standing. That's right, Rita, and that's kind of, she's been here too long. But these folks are, and has had about every job in the building. So
He's gonna miss me when I'm gone.
anyway, all 4 of them were really critical to me. And Eric Douglas is our news director, and he's sitting over in the corner here. Eric was here, but he wasn't our news director at the time. These are our department directors that are here at the meeting. Liz McCormick is not here today, as I told you, but they were every one of them has been essential, and I think we've gone through a culture change, and it's still going on. But they would be the ones, if you want to talk to somebody, that could speak to that. So I would encourage you to get in contact with any of them at any time, and they can let you know what's going on. Eddie has said a couple of different times that he feels energized, and it's the energy that the new people have brought into the building. So you all can sit down, and now the rest of you can stand up. Okay. Our chief engineer is Tyler Garner. You heard me talk about Blue Ridge PBS earlier. He started out there, got out of public broadcasting for a while, and went to work for Sinclair out in Oklahoma City, and he applied, and we did a Teams interview with him when he was out in Oklahoma, and my mind was made up right then and there that I wanted him because, look, folks, the fact of the matter is our equipment issues, especially at our 24+ tower sites, plus our equipment issues in our building are horrible. When you don't do deferred maintenance or anything for over a decade, you get yourself in trouble. And I needed somebody that was aggressive. I said it last week at the EBA board meeting. He came in, hit the ground running, and he makes people mad every once in a while. He makes me mad. But somebody has to do that. And he's taken on that task, and he's going to tell you one story about Garfield Street, which is our main tower site. You can see it from our building out here. If you look due west, I would call it South Charleston, but it sits in the Charleston city limits, and we've had vandalism out there. 2 years ago, we had it again this spring. You know, something that was a $40,000-$50,000 issue with copper theft became $250,000, just like that. We took 2 lightning strikes in 2 weeks. It fried a transmitter. It damaged a lot of our equipment out there, but we've gotten that taken care of now. They won't steal copper from Garfield Street anymore unless they've got a jackhammer and are out there for a day, because there's 15 inches of concrete on top of it. And that site's been improved dramatically, and that's what we have to do to all of them. We have to. We're a critical part of the state interoperable radio network. And, you know, look, emergencies happen, and they seem to happen a lot more frequently as time goes on. And we've got a key role with those folks, with emergency services and with Homeland Security. And we've had good discussion with them. I'll be meeting with those folks. All of the folks associated with Siren will be at Camp Dawson the last week of the month, and I'll be up there to speak to them one morning about that. But, you know, we're committed to that too, but he's in charge of that, and I know nothing about engineering. I'm learning little by little, but we've got somebody that's with it and worth it. You've met Christy Morey. You know, Christy's been around the Kanawha Valley for a long time, and Margaret Ann O'Neill's very unhappy with me. You know, Margaret Ann and I met in Beckley years ago when I was at the paper and she was with the United Way down there. And Christy worked for Margaret Ann for a handful of years, and she came over to interview. Again, no question about who the top candidate was after we did the interviews. And she took the bull by the horns to get out there this summer, and I'm sure her husband's worn out. But you know, she's made that commitment and has done a great job for us. Chris Barnhart is our new director of video production. he just spent 21 years in the U.S. Army, folks. Graduate of Ohio University's journalism school, broadcast journalism, specializes in documentaries. When he was with the Army, he did many documentaries, including live from the Middle East. He's kind of unfazed, and he's only gotten upset one time since July 18th, and that was this morning right before the meeting started, and he said, wow, your first communication with me really over the phone, you know, I had to send him a text on late Sunday afternoon and talk about my Steelers and his Bengals. So, anyway, we're thrilled to have Chris here, and you know, he's walked into a situation where you know, he's going to be hiring most of his own staff as well, and we're working on that, and we're thrilled to have Chris here. You met Maggie Holly, our education director, the Fireball, and you know, she knew about PBS programming for education, but after her interview, and again, I knew she was the one I wanted to hire.
They said I didn't shut up during the
Yeah,
interview.
yeah. First question I asked her took her 10 minutes to answer. But I asked her one thing at the end, well, do you have any other questions, or, you know, do you have anything else you want to add? And she said, yeah, my mother told me if you didn't hire me, you were making a big mistake. It takes somebody with a little bit of gall. And she grew up on the Pike-Floyd County line, folks. in a rough spot over there, but I was impressed by that she just decided she needed to tell me. So anyway, we're thrilled to have Maggie. Americo Valdez is our new director of grant programs, and Americo comes to us from Community and Economic Development. That was his last position with the state, and he was, am I right, 64 grants? You were administering 64 grants?
That was 2 grants, well, 3 grants. You include the COVID allocation, and about 36 agencies, which have their own series of requirements. But yeah.
So, yeah, right. Isn't that the truth? He's got the background, and you know, he came in at a critical time for us. We lost our director of grants, and we lost our coordinator for our folk waste project, which is funded by the Cargill Foundation. And if you don't know a lot about that, we'll be glad to let you know. But $1.2 million is what the Cargill Foundation has entrusted to West Virginia Public Broadcasting to train new or those that are just kind of, it's a very diverse group that we have out there. And Cargill wants us to train reporters for Appalachia. And that's what that's all about. And Americo had his hands full with that when he came in, because we were really 2 people down, and we just hired a wonderful young lady in Shepherdstown who's going to be who is our folk waste coordinator now. And it's going to allow him to do a little more work on other grants that impact the organization as a whole. But he came in, took over, and did a great job with that. So what I'm going to do, you've heard from some folks, I'm going to start to my left, and they're going to give you, you know, I know we're running long, it's almost 25 after 2, but I think it's very important that you're informed and know what these folks are doing. So Tyler, if you would go ahead and start.
It's a pleasure to be here today. I've had a joyous first few months, maybe met a few of you the last board meeting. The room's definitely packed, and I'm very happy to say the AC is working now. So we're back down. So hats off to Randy Com, our building manager, for getting all that squared away. I'll try to keep it short. I could talk for days on the amount of projects that we're doing. We do have about 30 sites across the state, and those are active sites. We do have some inactive sites that we are still in the process of cleaning up. And then we have 3 main facilities, Morgantown, Charleston, and Beckley, all which require their own needs for staff at each of those sites. Some highlights that have been going on, as Butch mentioned, we've had a lot of issues with Garfield. Garfield is our main distribution site for the Central and Northern District. If we lose that site, we lose everything from Charleston up. So it is kind of a main site, and so to lose copper at that site and then have a lightning strike, repair it, fix it, and then less than 2 weeks later have another one, lose it again, all while having copper on a truck to be delivered to install, was quite a hard one to eat. But we have done it. We've got great engineers, great IT staff. We were able to put it all back together, and we were only down, I think, for maybe a couple weeks while we waited on deliveries. So longer than I would prefer, but better than 8 months, which is what I'm looking at in backlogs for ordering new transmitters. So we've already ordered them so that they're here when the next one decides to go south. So Garfield has been a pretty major ordeal for the past few months. Phase 1 is completed, and so everything is grounded, secured, everything from security cameras to 20 inches thick of concrete. My next step is a ghillie suit in a tree. So hopefully we don't have to go there. So Garfield's been completed with the first phase. The next will be the building. This will be kind of our picture site. This is what all sites should look like, and then we will replicate that process across all the other 30 sites. We've made some pretty big safety improvements around this building, in particular new carpeting for trip hazards, ceilings that were on their way to fall down. We've repaired those, and we're redoing lighting for LEDs and parking lot work as some of the outer wall was crumbling. That's been repaired. And as you can currently see, we're attempting to finish resealing the parking lot if the rain will hold out on us. So hopefully next time it'll all be painted and cleaned. So but I'll leave it at that. And if you'd like to discuss more, I'd be happy to sit down.
Good job.
What I would tell you is we are in the first stages of $2.8 million worth of improvements paid for out of general fund revenue that will take place over the next 3 years. So we've started that process. It's going to address our issues, and hopefully by late 25, we can become proactive with what we're doing instead of reactive all the time. So,
You're singing this song to the legislature, I hope.
absolutely. I mean, and you know, we've also been in negotiation with both of our U.S. senators and their representatives for a specific earmark of $3 million because our tower sites are used as emergency locations, and the feedback has been very good so far. Now, we've been told that it may be 15 months out, but I'm all about 15 months out because we'll have gotten through at least the first third of these projects, and if we can get that earmark, that special appropriation,
very good.
It will solidify engineering and maintenance for an extended period of time for West Virginia Public Broadcasting.
Great.
All right, you've heard from Christy. Chris Barnhart, our new Director of Video Production. Chris, if you would give a quick report.
Okay. When I first walked into the door, I was notified immediately that I was going to be down 4 staff members by September. And a staff of 12, that means a third of my group is going to be gone. And we have a lot on our plate to accomplish. So over the next few weeks, we're entering into the hiring phase, and it's going to lead to that training phase to make sure everybody's on the same platform, so I can ensure that anybody that's in a new project has the same basic training, can work on the same level as everybody else. Because we have a wide range of talent here, people who have been here 40-some years working with my staff, to people who have been here for only a handful of years, to me, 9 weeks. So we have a wide range of skills, and anybody who's experienced with broadcast production knows you can spend 20 years in one studio, and go to our studio, it's completely different equipment, programs, profiles, and you're at square with zero. So I'll try and get everybody on the same platform, because coming up in January, we have our little period called the Gauntlet. Let's say today, Active Bowl, a bunch of events in a row, including our continuing program to make documentaries, which we currently have 3 on the final stages. And hopefully those final stages don't last as long as the initial stages apparently have. So we're hoping to have 2 of them out next month, and the 3rd one hopefully November. And after that, we have a whole new slate of ideas and programs we're getting ready to start production on. So we got a lot going on. We got a lot of new people to bring in, get them up to speed, and I'm really looking forward to it. I know people keep on talking about the craziness and headaches of TLT, but that's my zone. The chaos is where I live, and I love it. So thank you for letting me be here.
Thank you, Chris. Tammy?
Hi, I'm Tammy. I'm the CFO. Pretty much Peter gave my report for me. So that's what I do, is I count your money. I work out of the Beckley office. I take care of all of the financial transactions for the EBA, the foundation, and the Friends.
I would tell you, the audit report that's required for the EBA comes out on October the 15th every year. I came in the door October 19th and got to see the audit my first day in. And Tammy and I had some long discussions. Her staff was trimmed over the years, and quite frankly, to tell you the truth, just not enough people to handle that workload. We've since added a full-time staffer to her office. It's made a huge difference. And last year, the EBA paid Suttle and Stoniker $77,000 on top of the contract, correct?
Correct.
On top of the existing contract for extra work that had to be done. And if I'm right, this year we've gotten the notification. We don't have the audit yet, but I think the number was $16,000.
Correct.
I think that tells you just a little bit about that. And if I'm also right, $7,000 of that 16 was for an accounting service that we would have had to purchase anyway. So really that number is 9. So I think if you listen to that, you can tell just a little bit, and she's worked very hard at that, and that person being added to her staff has made a big difference. So we thank Tammy. Tammy's been around a long time too.
24 years.
24. Okay, and right next to her is our COO. And how many years?
26.
26. Yeah. So that's 50 between the two of you. And if you add her, you're over 100, right?
Yards.
So,
I don't know if I can follow that. So thanks to you all, I was able to go to the Public Radio Program Directors Content Conference, and I took a couple of staff members, and Mountain Stage was there as well with us. And the thing that was so different from this year's Program Directors Conference than in the past was they spent little time talking about content and more time talking about the future of delivery of that content. And as Butch has told you earlier, you know, the way that content is going to be distributed is changing. We can't stop it. The consumer has decided what they want, and they want on demand. How many people here own a radio in your home? How many people here do not? Exactly. This is how I listen to the radio, my phone. I put my earbuds in, I walk to and from work, I listen to the radio. People, you'd be surprised how many people watch a whole TV show on their phone, on an iPad, on the plane. So that's the thing that we're talking about mostly in programming right now, is how to get the product to the people where they are and where they want it to be. We're already doing that in many ways, but we've got to do it a lot better. I mean, all of our radio programs, you can download them as podcasts. We have a live stream. We have PBS Passport, which has on-demand viewing, but we don't do a good job of letting people know about that. And as Butch was telling you, with terrestrial broadcast, if PBS only owns like less than 1% of the viewership, can you imagine with the digital landscape out there, how easy it is to get lost in that? So we've got to make sure that we remain relevant in the future and how we do that. So that's basically what we're working on. We'll be talking about that at our planning meeting. But that's really what's going on in the world of programming right now. You might have any questions? Thank you.
Thank you, Eddie. Adam Harris is our Director of Mountain Stage, and Adam, can you give us an update? There's lots of exciting things going on.
Absolutely. Thank you, Butch, and I'll try to make it as quick as possible. And I just want to say thank you and reiterate that support for being able to send us to the PRPD. I got to take 2 staff members. Well, Jeff Shirley came. He's been to PRPD before, but John Ingram and Mallory Richards, who's our new box office manager and kind of leads our marketing, it was their first time at the conference. So it was basically an orientation into public radio, into the world that Mountain Stage exists in. And so it was immensely helpful for them to get that. And so thank you again. And you guys also helped us sponsor the conference on the bronze level, which meant we had huge brand placement throughout the entire conference. Every sign, when you walk into the exhibit hall, had the Mountain Stage logo on it. At the beginning of every session, they would thank every single sponsor, including Mountain Stage each time. And so, and because of you all, we were able to have Kathy Matea down there. And that was the other goal, was to introduce Kathy personally to the stations that are carrying Mountain Stage each and every week. And she is a great ambassador of this organization, of the state of West Virginia. Spent a lot of great time with programmers down there. And so that face-to-face time is invaluable. And even though you were able to put a financial value on that sponsorship, really hard to quantify the actual reach that we got through that. And even though I don't know if we'll be adding any new stations to that, this was largely about saying thank you to those stations who have come on board. Because as you guys know, in the last 2 years, our station growth has grown exponentially. And so we want to reward those stations and hopefully contain those relationships. And then I wanted to say that how great it is to have Christy Morey on board. We've been having weekly meetings with Mallory and Christy and Todd Freimeyer from the underwriting department. And that's really been helpful. Those are something that's been missing for all these years. You know, you would think it was a no-brainer. But Mallory and Christy have put together the marketing plan that you guys approved. And I just want to say thank you for that again, because again, we can't do things as we've always done them before. And Mountain Stage has never had a marketing plan. It's just the way it's always been. Well, now we have, and with your support, I hope we're going to have a very robust marketing plan. And to piggyback off what Eddie was saying, what I've heard throughout this meeting today, which is, you know, we have to be where the audiences are. And our audience isn't always the same audiences that we're targeting for our various different kinds of programming. And with Christy's help, I think she and Mallory have put together a pretty robust marketing plan that includes some over-the-air transmissions through digital television. And Mallory has done that through Festival, and I think she's got a great report or a great plan for having that work for Mountain Stage as well. We need to be where the music listeners are, and we can run promos on public radio all day and on public television all day, but that's our own choir, and we're continuing to give them the same message, which we have to do, but we have to do as much as we can to reach outside of this audience as well. And I think as we heard at the PRPD, there's a lot of lacking when it comes to stations and how we market ourselves. But I think with Christy's help and with Butch's direction, you know, we're on a great path towards broadening our reach through our marketing efforts. We have Gazette banner ads on a frequent basis now, thanks to Christy. We have a formal relationship with one television station and one commercial radio station to have us on about once a week when we have live shows in the area. So we're giving away tickets. And again, the V100 listener is not exactly the public radio listener. We're crossing over and getting their attention because the V100 listener does indeed buy tickets to Mountain Stage. And of the 3 weeks we've given away tickets so far, all 3 of those folks have come up, and all 3 of them have been excited about it. It means they've been before, but maybe they haven't come for a while. And so I think that's going to be invaluable going forward. And you'll be seeing us on WVAH television, I believe is the right call letters, on a frequent basis as well. And so I can't reiterate that thank you enough to the Friends for supporting our sponsorship of the PRPD and also just supporting that marketing plan, because we've got a lot of things coming up in this 40th anniversary year. And you guys already helped us get new tablecloths, new pull-up banners, which that sounds like a small thing, but everything we have says Larry Gross, and we have a new host now. We got Kathy Mateo on there wherever possible. And we're coming up on the 1-year anniversary of announcing Kathy as the new host as well. So plenty of great things to celebrate, and it really wouldn't have been possible without the support of this group and, of course, from the members. So thank you.
Honest response. How many of you have been to Mountain State? Well, that's good. Because you don't know what you're missing.
Yeah, come back and see us anytime.
You don't know what you're missing. Thanks, Adam. Marico?
That started in April. My biggest task has been to understand and kind of build together Folkways, which is a part of Inside Appalachia, and keep that relationship very solid with MACP, who funds it. I've had a lot of time to work on those and really dig into the program and get to know all aspects of it. Here we are at the end of our interim reporting part of the grants, and we are going to be reporting out to MACP on Friday, which really sets a baseline for where we are with the first part of the grant, which we are going to spend down. And I've just really been looking forward to closing this part of it and moving into focusing on the second part of the grant, because we can look at the future instead of trying to look at what we've done in the past. One really important thing I'd like to point out to the board is that in June, we started a relationship with Mesh Studios. They have been helping us with our Instagram and social media presence. And, the numbers aren't huge, but what's important is that we're seeing consistent growth, about 20 to 25% every week. And, we are experiencing about 5,000 podcast downloads per week. And, the numbers are really good because they're growing. But what's important about this is building a framework that we're using for Folkways and for Inside Appalachia that we can scale to all of our programming. So instead of asking you for supporting a project like this, we can use what we've learned from Folkways for pretty much everything else we do. And I think it's been a great investment, and we are seeing a lot of growth in that area. Again, the slow burn, it'll be slow before really having a huge amount of followers. The important thing is that it is growing. So at this point, we were supposed to have 35 stories published, and we're actually at 41. So we're ahead of the game there. And as Butch mentioned, we have a new project coordinator, Bianca Isom, who has just been incredible support. So, a lot of teamwork and a lot of assistance from other departments here too. That's, very helpful. And what I want to do is be able to, now that we have that under control, is really focus on the future and focus on where we're going to go with grants for the organization. There is an unprecedented amount of funding available to everybody, including us. And we definitely have the resume to put ourselves out there to seek new grants and seek new funding. And that's where, getting the MACP grant under control and managed will allow me to have more time to do that. And that's, why I asked that training that Butch brought up earlier. That's to help me better position us for all the other grants that are available out there. So MACP is under control, and we are going to be looking forward to more funding also from West Virginia Humanities Council for us and them. I'm working closely with them for a media grant. That's a program that has about 120,000 podcast downloads per year. So that's what we don't want to lose sight of either. So again, looking forward to a good future for grants, and looking forward to actually starting to look for new programs. So I do thank you for your support with that training that was mentioned earlier. Thanks.
Thank you. Well, when you sit over in the corner, you're last.
I'm last, but not least, right?
Right.
So, he didn't seem to have the enthusiasm when he said that I was expecting.
No, I walk in his office all the time, and I know when I walk in, he's like, oh, well, what does he want this for?
Actually, and I've said this before, a lot of people have asked me since Butch arrived, has he meddled with the news department? Has he told, I've never felt, Butch has never told me what to report on or what not to report on. Never once crossed my mind. That probably makes you feel better, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
Just, there's not been much going on in the news this week. So,
Yeah.
for the last 3 months, it's felt like we've been drinking from a fire hose, and I know you all have experienced that. But we're cranking along. I've been communicating with my guys upstairs and across the state while we've been sitting here. We've got stories, reactions to the legislative decisions yesterday, the new economic development stuff, and a whole host of other stories going on. So we're cranking and rocking and rolling as usual. But yeah, it's been a busy season. But we are, just as a real quick note, you guys haven't heard about it. We are planning a series that will air starting in October on tourism. The state's always talking about tourism. We're not doing a brochure tourism series. We're doing, what does it really mean? Where are some of the places where we've great plans, but we've kind of fallen short, or is it generating the money that we expect it to, that sort of thing. So we're launching a series on that next month, and yeah, like I said, just kind of rocking and rolling and keeping the airwaves full.
West Virginia Morning, will you?
Absolutely. West Virginia Morning's not going anywhere. We consider that, Eddie will tell you, that's our flagship program, especially for the morning. And I always get this wrong. West Virginia Morning, as I understand it, is sort of an anomaly. We're one of the few NPR affiliates that gets a 15-minute block in the morning. And I think it was grandfathered in something when they changed their clock.
Yeah, they reformatted the show recently, and they allowed us to keep that format in there. Most other stations just break in with 1-2 reports throughout the morning.
I love it.
Yeah, it's great, yeah.
And, West Virginia Morning this morning was a short feature and 6 news spots. We try not to do that. I'm sure Teresa's still mad at me after this morning. We usually try to do 2 or 3 news spots and a couple shorter features to kind of break it up and talk about a number of topics. But yesterday there was just so much going on clearly that we had to change our normal routine. But no, absolutely, West Virginia Morning's not going anywhere.
Well, I will say something important about that. When we were under fire at the legislature, there's some powerful people in the Eastern Panhandle that were in decision-making positions, and they were saying, this is the only place we get news about West Virginia in the Eastern Panhandle because all of our stations are DC stations. So it was a very good thing to have on the air for us, that's for sure.
And yes, there are a couple very important legislators from the Eastern Panhandle.
Do you have anybody down at the Governor's Conference on Tourism, which is going on as we speak?
It's ending today. You know what? When we heard about that? Yesterday. Literally. I had
fix that.
I went. I got and I actually didn't even get the email from the governor's office, which was odd. Got it from somebody in Huntington, and I've forgotten the name right now, and I don't want to misspeak. And I was like, it'd been nice to know about it. Now, in all honesty, with the special sessions, or 2 special sessions this week, with the interim meetings this week and economic development, I don't know, I could have sent somebody down there the whole time, but I would have liked to have known about it. But unfortunately, I didn't even.
It's been very good, by the way.
Well, great.
I just drove over from there to the meeting.
Yeah, and I'm supposed to go down there tonight.
All right.
But I'll talk, you can send somebody to my place. But the WVHTA .whatever, gov or org, they have a dynamite newsletter I think it comes out at least weekly, and they list all this stuff that's going on. So if you're doing with tourism.
Yeah, okay, tourism.
Subscribe to it.
Hospitality and Tourism Association, get on their mailing list.
You know, actually, I just got, and I just sent responded to an email from them today about something else, about something else they'd sent out, but it was the first email I've ever sent from them,
Well,
seen from them, so yeah.
Well, get on their, they have a great newsletter.
They always include Song of the Week in their newsletter.
Do they really?
Because, yeah,
Cool.
because Mountain Stage is a member of the HTA. It is a great newsletter. I read it every Friday.
College
We have had a presence at the tourism conference in the past.
You know,
Mountain Stage has.
can we put that as a 10% request? Or?
But with conferences, and we've got a roadshow this weekend, we weren't able to have a presence at this one. But I hope.
Well, let me say this, I sit on the HTA Education Foundation Board, so I was gonna go to this in Huntington, but because of all the meetings, I couldn't go until the wrap-up session tonight, and I have a ticket, and I'm not gonna be able to go. You wanna send somebody to take my place?
I don't have a warm body that I can send to it tonight.
Adam,
to be
wanna
honest
go?
with you.
Anybody wanna go?
I can be on the air at 7 in the morning.
I can't attend, but
Yeah.
anybody wants to take my place. It's a
Yesterday-
big picnic, and they have everybody involved in tourism in the state's gonna be there tonight.
No, I would have loved to, if we'd known about it a week before, I probably could have arranged something, but it just didn't. Yeah, I was on for pledge
Dave,
yesterday
you wanna go?
morning, and then.
I'll be in town.
Okay, just tell them you're me, okay?
Okay.
All right.
I think I could pass off.
B Ireland.
Thank you, Eric. I appreciate it. One more thing before we wrap up the report. I would like to tell you this about the Eastern Panhandle. I think it was about 6 weeks after I started, I just decided to make a trip. And I got over there, and Liz McCormick at the time was not our webmaster and digital coordinator. She was our education reporter. And got over there, and she said it had been quite some time since anybody'd come to visit from Charleston. And I've tried to make it a part of my schedule to get into Shepherdstown as much as I can. And one of the things that's developed since that time, and it's still in the works, they have the campus radio station over there. And I've had a number of conversations with those folks. Believe it or not, Shepherdstown kind of sits down in a hole. And to get that signal out across the greater Martinsburg area, if you will, has become a real challenge for them. Not very far down the road, there's a little place called Bardane, and the state police barracks sits down there. And there's actually a tower site that's out there that it's ours.
It is ours.
It
and I've
sits on the
already-
state police's property.
Yep, already got the transmitter.
Yeah, and it hasn't been functional. And we went over and met. Tyler was there. We got another radio consultant involved from State Emergency Services, and we met with them. And that signal is going to change, and it's going to improve our coverage area over in the Eastern Panhandle through Shepherd University. But the rest of the conversation was this. Shepherd may be very interested in passing off the operation of the campus radio station to public broadcasting. A lot has to be done. We're looking at a 24 to 36 month period, but clearly if something like that would take place, then we'll be looking to take on the additional cost of really upping our signal over there and making sure that we get as much coverage as possible. So Cecilia's seen me a few times, and I try and say hello when I'm in town. But I'm very cognizant of the Eastern Panhandle. I'm very cognizant of the Northern Panhandle and Central West Virginia as well. During the legislative session last year, we had pretty much Randy Yowie participated. West Virginia News, which is the Clarksburg Exponent, and now a number of other weekly or bi-weekly papers spread across the state, actually, from Point Pleasant to Kaiser. Those guys over there, Brian Jarvis and Andy Nicely, have become a pretty good sized newspaper operation. They did a podcast out of the Capitol. Harvey Kirchhoff had given up his spot and in the rotunda, and they did an actual podcast, and Randy Yowie would go speak for about 8 minutes twice during their morning show, and also promote West Virginia Public Broadcasting. And it's just little things like that. That podcast was clearly geared towards Clarksburg, Morgantown, and North Central West Virginia. But I can tell you, every opportunity we get, no matter where it is in the state, to take advantage of something like that, we're going to. So that's our report. I know it's long, but if you have any other questions, please feel free to contact me. And if you missed some of this or wanted to check and get any other detail, if you go to YouTube from the EBA meeting last week, you can view the meeting and director's reports as well. Thank you very much for being here.
Thank you, Mr. Executive Director. Is there other business to be brought before the board?
Question, if we have conflict of interest statements, they go to
Marilyn?
That's it to me. Do you have any we can sign if we wasn't able to print them out? Are they in here?
Okay, the bottom dot. Yeah, every year.
That's just my stuff.
So that's yours.
No, it's just old paper.
Here's one.
Other matters to be brought before the board? If not, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. We are adjourned.
Good night, everybody, for coming. I'd be glad to know.